In this lecture, let's go ahead and create a base template. And a base template is nothing but a template which is going to basically be our main template from which all the templates which we have are going to extend from. So for example, let's say we want to create a navigation bar and we want to add that navigation bar to all the web pages which we have. In that particular case, we are going to place that navigation bar inside the base template. So in this case, we are designing the base template because we want to place the login and logout options or links there so that we don't have to manually type them in whenever we want to log in or log out a user. So let's go ahead and let's create those templates. So I'll go inside users and create a template called as base.html. Now this template is obviously going to be an HTML template, which is also going to refer to some CSS stylings as well in the near future. Therefore, it must have a load static tag to load all the static assets. So here I would start with load static. And then let's start off by writing some HTML code in here. So first of all, I'll create an HTML tag here. So HTML, that's going to be a starting and ending tag. Let's add a head tag, and then let's also add a body tag as well. Okay, so once this thing is done, we are pretty much good to go. And now this particular body tag is going to contain the body of that particular base template. And in here, what we want to do is we want to display the links for login and logout. However, the way in which we want to do that is, let's say if the user is logged in, then this template should only show the option to log out. And if the user is already logged out, this particular template should show the option to log in. So in order to implement that functionality, here I have to first check if the user is logged in. And the question is, how exactly are you going to check this? So whenever you render a template, that template has some context. So the context is nothing but it has some information about the backend, like the logged in user, the request object, so on and so forth. So here we are going to be using the request object, and that request object is going to contain the currently logged in user. And we could check if that currently logged in user is authenticated or not. So here I'll write template syntax to check that. So I'll write an if conditional statement here. So I would say if request. So request here is the object, which is the request object. So in this request object, we have user, and we could check if that user is actually an authenticated user or not. So I would say dot is underscore authenticated. So it basically goes ahead and checks it for us. Now let's end the if statement here, end if. And if it finds that, okay, the user is authenticated, that means in that particular case, we have to display a link for logging out the user. So I'll create an ahref tag, which would say logout. And this is actually going to point to the URL for logout. And the URL for logout is nothing but this URL right here. And we have already named this URL as logout, which means we could make use of this name up over here. So here, in order to specify a URL, I'll again make use of the template syntax. And here I want to say that I want to mention a URL here. And the URL is going to be nothing but logout. So I'll mention logout in single quotes here. And you cannot use double quotes because you have already used them over here. So instead, I would use single quotes and say logout. And this logout is nothing but it's simply the name of the URL pattern right up over here, which basically is going to render out this view. Okay, so once that thing is done, we are done with this. And we also need to add an else over here as well. And that's because what happens if the user is not authenticated? In that particular case, we want to display the login button. So here I would say else I want to have an ahref link, which just like that. And I want to say that I want to log in if this happens. And this should say login. And this login is nothing but it's simply the name of the URL which we have here, which is this URL, which renders this view, which is the user login view. Okay, so once this thing is done, now I want to say that I want to have the block body and end block tags for this, which means that if this template is added to any other template, the first part is going to start from here. And the rest of the part which extends that template is going to start from here. So here I would say block body, which means that the body of the template is going to start from here and it's going to end here. So end block. Okay, so once this particular base template is ready, we are pretty much good to go. And in the upcoming lecture, we will actually go ahead and add this base templates to whatever templates we are going to create from here on. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.